Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, three of the kings of gacha right now. But what you're about to see is something that a lot of people have told me is the best gacha game that you've never heard of. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and let's see what Limbus Company's all about. Oh, it's obviously already out. I need to see some gameplay. Limbus Company, the best free game you've never played. Is this a game that I should actually try?
Hey, my Uti's correction gang.
Hey, guys.
Limbus Company is a game that is made by the most unhinged company known to man.
Okay.
Project Moon. They're founded in South Korea, like most of your generic
Wait, so this is a Korean gacha game, huh?
They're known for their other games, such as Lobotomy Corp and Library of Ruina, which
I'm sorry, Lobotomy Corp?
are popular amongst the community.
Really?
They've slowly developed a community of unhinged people, and I'm slowly becoming one of them.
Understandable,
This video
okay.
is mainly made for the people who want to dip their feet into Limbus Company and the Project Moon universe.
I'm thinking about it.
However, if you want to hear my bad takes and correct me throughout this video about how I misexplain everything, you're more than welcome to stay. I'll mainly be talking about the art style, the combat, the gacha system, and the story.
Okay, so the combat? Oh, interesting. I'll let him talk. The combat,
The gacha
we'll
system
see.
and the story.
Maybe it's like an
but only
absolute
like a
goated
brief
story or
summary
something.
of the story. Since I plan on actually making a review video on
What
it,
is this?
a long one at that. By the way, the script for that video is like 5 pages long in a Word document, and I'm still at the prologue trying to explain every detail.
Bro, is this what Limbus Company does to a man?
For why Molar Boatwork Ishmael is the best smelling ID, to why the I used Mariachi St. Clair for the whole of Canto 1.
Interesting.
My rant being out of the way, let's get into Limbus Company.
Dude, the art style looks incredible. Not gonna cap. Not gonna cap. It's so brain rotted. We'll see, bro. Story. Gregor getting pregnant is canon.
As I said,
Did I just get
gonna be a
spoiled?
brief summary of the story, since this story actually has so much to it that me explaining in this video won't actually do it justice.
Okay.
You, the player, or the main character of this game, is called Dante, a clocked-faced character. You've been adopted by the best dad of the year, Virgilus, who has 13 other kids known as the Sinners.
Oh,
They are
God.
Gregor, Rodion, or Rodia, Sinclair, Yisang, Ishmael, Heathcliff, Don Quixote, Honglu.
There
Sinclair, Yisang, Ishmael, Heathcliff, Don Quixote.
Bro, they deadass added a character called Don Quixote. There's no short. Oh my God, there is no short. Is this what came first, the Don Quixote in Japan, or is it that what? Bro, I love Don Quixote. It's literally, you go to Japan, dude, you spend like until 2 a.m. in Don Quixote just buying shit on the last day. It's insane. Oh my God. Okay.
Ryoshu, Mersalt, Utis, my beloved,
Nice.
and Faust.
Faust
These
is a cool
characters are all
name.
based on real-life books, stories, and authors. Dante, based on the infamous book
Dante's Inferno. Yep.
And Don Quixote from, well, Don Quixote.
I didn't realize that
Virgilus
was
has
a bug,
kidnapped
dude.
all of you people in a bus called Mephi, or Mephistopheles.
Ooh, cool.
You are also joined by a driver on the bus called Charon. Ironic, because Charon is like the god of death that traverses.
It's the god of without looking properly. It's the person who typically ferries souls to the afterlife, right?
The sea, who has a sense of the direction of a 5-year-old
I think.
rubbing their face on Markiplier's pecs.
Nice.
Since Virgilus pretty much is the boss of the group, his order is simple. Each canto, or chapters, you will be visiting an area reminiscent for certain sinners to retrieve the golden bow. By the way, since I was streaming this game, even the people who are at the very late stages of the game don't even know what the golden bow still is. So
Wait, what? Oh, I mean, that makes sense, though. I mean, even like Genshin, there's still people right now that are playing the game that don't know what a lot of things, a ton of things are, to be fair, in Genshin, but maybe that's more so just storytelling issues. I don't know.
So, thankfully, I don't have to explain it. For example, in Canto 1, you visit a place that is close and dear to Gregor. So you'll be learning more about himself and following through the gruesomeness of what he went through. I'm not gonna be spoiling anything about it, because I want you to experience the story for yourself.
Yeah, me too. If I do decide to play this, the story is the main thing I will be playing for, I think.
I highly recommend just playing the game if you want to experience the story. I might as well give you my thoughts on it, but I think Canto 1 to 3 have been amazing, especially Canto 3 due to a certain someone that I will not spoil.
Okay.
I think Canto 3 is what sparked me to make a video on this, considering how interesting it was and how well thought out it was. And again, as I said, I do want to make a long form video on this.
This is a long form video on it. I still gotta play Expedition 33 as well, man. Oh God.
It's gonna be probably 10 hours long. but it's like something worth doing because I think like it really deserves it. Like this game,
that's fair.
Definitely amazing.
Nice.
So yeah, like if you want to learn about this
The art style looks incredible.
more, I suggest you play on your own and like give it a shot.
All right. I might. Let's see if the rest of this video convinces me, because art style is something I can definitely get behind, but combat is going to be something else entirely, dude.
It's not something you see typically in most gacha games, since today's gacha games
Is there voice acting?
are mainly
Is
just
my question
who
as
can make
well.
the most oversized tits
right.
for their characters. So this game's art style reminds me a lot about Darkest Dungeon and the gameplay as well, but we'll get to it later. The game has this very rustic style when the world wars were taking place in the 20th century.
Okay.
Almost like if there was actually a war that took place in the game as well. I know this art style won't be for everyone since you don't see it every day. I, however, found myself falling in love with it because most of the character designs are unique. Most enemy designs are
How the hell does this goddamn combat work, dude? What the fuck am I looking at right now?
pretty
Okay.
generic, I'd say, but done in a way that
Enemy bosses are well
it feels
made.
like it belongs in the world. And some areas that you see in the background of the cutscenes also fit the world they built really well. The IDs, or characters, that you will be pulling from the gacha system all have their own flair to it, and are mainly based on character personality, which, you know, makes sense. Overall, for the art style, it just hits for me.
Yeah.
Like, it just hits on the spot for
It's
me,
a cool,
and I'm a big
it's a cool time period and art style, to be
fan
fair.
of like the rustic style that they have, and the way that each little detail of the world applies to it is just perfect.
Interesting. I mean, it looks pretty good so far. The only thing, like I say, is the combat system. Let's take a look at this. Gameplay. Oh, no. My child will press win
Now,
rate.
for
What?
the gameplay. Where do I even begin?
At the
There's
beginning.
a lot to the core gameplay for the game, such as debuffs, statuses, buffs, but don't panic, I got you covered on this.
Nice.
So what you do is, once you unlock the win rate button, you just keep spamming that a bunch of time to essentially get through every single content that way. That's pretty much the gameplay.
Wait, dead ass? It's just like an auto button? Are you lying?
Every single combat, you can only bring 5 characters, in some
Okay.
cases 6. Each characters have skills that are shown in the sequence here. In normal encounters like this, you have to chain skills and pick which skill you want to use. You can click the character in combat and see what they do. I recommend just reading on them when you choose which character you want to bring to the battle, because some of them are just a size of like 5 Yu-Gi-Oh cards combined.
Nice. It's turn-based, right?
Each time you use a skill for the combat, it will automatically get replaced by another skill that you can see. So it's best to know what you want to use now so that you can play around the next upcoming skill. Now, there is a resonance mechanic
Panic running.
where if you pair up skills of the same color, it gives you a bonus of some sort.
Okay.
To be completely honest, it really doesn't do much, so I say just forget about it. By the way, the colors of the skill themselves do matter in some cases, but it really depends on what your character does most of the time. I should mention, when choosing characters you want to play, you should actually place them in a certain order, because this is actually really important.
Like HSR, I guess, where like certain characters are more likely to get attacked or something.
When you enter battle and you've done your first turn, the character you chose first, which allows like another skill to be used, and that is pretty massive for a character that wants to like attack a lot.
True.
Now, for how
That's
damage is
fair.
calculated, it is based on coin flips. Yes,
What?
even gambling for characters wasn't enough.
Wait, what? Wait, the damage roll is a coin flip?
They legit had to implement gambling to the combat out of all things. For
Explain.
each skill, they will have a maximum and a minimum damage they can apply, and they will also have a certain amount of coins. Now, when I said the combat is very similar to Darkest Dungeon, I really meant it.
I've never ever played Darkest Dungeon.
It's also very comparable to another game that has been getting popularity recently, known as Fear and Hunger. If you
Also
played those
never
games
played Fear
before,
and
the
Hunger.
combat should be simple enough for you knowing what the coins actually mean and do. For the people who don't know, basically, your damage will be calculated based on how many coins land on heads and if you land on tails. You'll be dealing the bare minimum of damage if you hit all tails. Hitting all heads, you will be doing the max amount of damage.
Okay.
Hitting, let's say, 2/3 of
The game likes head. Okay, I get
your
it.
coins will still damage the enemy, but obviously calculate between the ratio you have. The clash mechanic that you will be experiencing a lot is much more different, however.
Okay.
A clash is triggered usually when both one of your units and an enemy is attacking at the same time. On top of that, it usually tells you
You can do that? Wait, so it's a turn-based game, but you and another unit can attack at the same time?
which one will be favored. You will either get a favored, neutral, struggling, and other variations. Favored usually
Interesting.
means that you will most likely win the clash. The way they do clash is each time both
Coin flips.
sides will flip the amount of coins they
Yeah.
have. If one side lose their flip, they will lose 1 coin until they have none. Once there's no coins left, the unit who lost will lose their ability to attack, while the winner of the clash gets to deal damage.
The gameplay looks very interesting. I don't know if I'd enjoy it. I'd have to try it to
Measurement.
figure out if I'd enjoy it, to be honest.
To keep track of because of the range of sanity you can get.
It just seems like a lot to take in, and the UI looks really fucking complicated.
From -45 to 45 sanity. The higher your sanity, the more heads you will land with your attacks. The way you gain sanity is also simple. Attacking enemies gives you sanity, and killing off enemies will give you even more sanity. Another great tool you have at your disposal is that if you see you're most likely to lose a clash, you can just click on your character and defend yourself instead. For each character, it's usually different. It's either a defense, counter, or dodge. This defense mechanic can also give you bonuses sometimes for some characters, and it's pretty beneficial to use. Enemies on their health bar have lines on certain points. Reaching those points causes them to be at a staggered state, which basically means that they will be stunned and won't be able to attack.
Oh, dude, I really do like the art style, even in the gameplay sections like this, the combat systems.
Full on take the maximum damage you can output. If you land your heads, of course. There's also a speed mechanic.
You still gotta land the damn heads, even when they're stacked. That's insane.
Characters are rearranged every turn to see who gets to go first. Characters who are placed on the far left are usually most likely to get attacked. The same is true for the enemy side.
Thought about as much.
Another form of combat that appears is focused encounters. Unlike the normal ones that I've shown you throughout the footage, in focused encounters, it's mainly just clashes constantly, and you actually don't gain additional skill slot after each turn.
I will give credit where credit's due, guys. This guy, whoever the fuck this YouTuber is, I'll check afterwards, is doing a great job at explaining this, considering just how complicated it looks to be.
And you have to manage your skills properly. Finally, with that comes dungeons. Dungeons usually appear at the end of each canto, usually being an hour or two long. So I suggest being mentally ready. Usually in these, there will be many encounters against enemies along with story dialogue, with you receiving ego gifts, which are permanent buffs throughout the whole dungeon.
Damn. Okay, I like the sound of this.
There's also encounters with question marks on them that usually forces you to run checks to gain either more ego gifts, items, or buffs to help you out.
Is this is going to sound ridiculous. Is this kind of like SimUni? Or is it like, I assume it's kind of like SimUni, right? But obviously it came before SimUni, so I'm not comparing it in that way. But
the game usually tells you which character is more suitable to run these checks. These checks also apply in some cases battles you'll be doing throughout the dungeon, mainly boss checkpoints. With that, yeah, the combat segment is done. I know I talked a lot about it, but I think
but that's fine. It needs a lot
if you actually
of
want
talking
to learn
about
what each status and buffs do, there's usually plenty of channels who cover that kind of stuff.
Nice.
I don't personally have any recommendation. I'd say you find them for yourselves. Even the game itself and the wiki explains what these effects do, so don't be afraid to read up on them.
Huge. So let me get this straight. This is a Korean gacha game. And the voiceover is only in Korean, but the text is in English as well. Is that right?
If you're a lazy ass that doesn't want to read up on it and will press win rate to win,
lazy, man.
It'll get you through the earlier stages.
I'll just press win rate all the time if I do play.
Don't be surprised when you lose eventually.
Yeah, for sure. I get it. I'm stupid. It is what it is, though. All right, what's next? Gacha! Oh, yeah, what's the gacha system like? I love gambling. Gold, gold, gold.
Now, this is what I praised the game for.
Praise the sun! Oh my god. Bro is the most goated character in any game, probably. Salah.
There is no artifact system in this game.
I'm gonna play this game.
None. Zero. They actually managed to make an enjoyable game without prioritizing crit rate and crit damage. People meme on Project Moon for not knowing how to make gacha games, which is true to some extent. But their lack of understanding actually made this game so much better.
I'm gonna play this game.
So 12 sinners, right? So how do you get more characters? Well, you don't.
What?
You gain variations of these characters instead. Earlier I mentioned two specific IDs like Motorboat Orc Ishmael and Mariachi Sinclair. Those are specific IDs that these characters can get. There's really only 3 rarities in this game. The normal regular IDs that, you know, the default ones. 000 and 000, which is the best you can get.
Okay. Jesus
in normal gacha terms, 00s are basically 4 stars and 000s are 5 stars.
Yeah, makes sense.
These IDs have different skills and mechanics and have to be leveled separately. If level transferring was actually a mechanic in the game, it would just be too easy. However, IDs aren't the only form of gacha you can get.
Wait, so you get a character and then you can their IDs is like literally different identifications for said character? Is that or am I very confused?
There's also egos that you can get. Another combat mechanic that I forgot to add in the combat section. Great.
Yeah.
Just great.
Okay.
Essentially, egos are ultimates that characters can use for a cost of sanity and
Wait, so is this like weapons, but instead of a weapon, it's just an ultimate?
affinities. What are affinities? Well, remember how I said the colors of your skills
Yes.
matter? Yeah. Now is a good time to talk about it. Each
Okay.
skill gives you a certain amount of affinities of the colored skill you used. These will stay until the end of combat unless you're doing dungeons, which stays till the end of the dungeon. But yeah, egos either do a lot of damage, give you permanent buffs, or a good utility for your team.
So yeah, it is basically like a limited weapon,
There's
right?
more to the IDs.
Guys, can you put different egos on different characters, or is it like you pull for a specific ego for this character? It's like a thing that you can only use on one character or something.
Actually, there's a form of ascension in this game called uptie. Usually, a character can be uptied to a maximum of 4, where at
Okay.
uptie 3, they unlock their quote-unquote final form. And at uptie 4,
Character specific? Okay, good to
gaining
know,
a
thank you.
huge buff on all their skills. Uptying requires a resource called threads that is either usually obtained from pulling, like from the banner, or from events. You can also buy them from the shop as well by selling character-specific threads that you don't think you'll need. By the way, I personally didn't have any other use for the shop. You can buy other IDs and egos for different types of currency.
Okay.
And that's the extent that I know of it. But please, leave
That's pretty cool.
a comment if you know the full use of the shop, and that would be appreciated. Now, what if you pulled for a character but are too
Yeah,
poor to
what if you
level them
broke?
up? Well, now here's the gacha aspect you all
Oh.
have been waiting for.
Wait.
Enkafelin is essentially this game's resin energy source to get
Okay.
materials for leveling your characters and actually getting different types of threads. Yeah, if you played a singular gacha game in your life, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, we get that.
Enkephalin must be condensed to enkephalin modules to be used for material farming. I wouldn't advise ever skipping the battle. Usually playing the game and pressing win rate will do the trick, so you save more resources to gain more materials. I should
Nice,
also
okay.
mention
So you don't even have to skip the battles, really?
that the story nodes will also cost enkephalin. Usually that won't be a problem in most cases, while dungeons only consume 1 enkephalin.
Damn! Wait, the 2-hour-long dungeons only consume 1? That seems kind of goated. One.
Last thing that I'll be talking about here is mirror dungeons. The reason why I'm talking about
Mirror of the Wuthering!
dungeons here is because I actually haven't tried it yet. But
Oh.
they're essentially like dungeons from the combat segment, just with, shops and more ego gifts. Leveling
Interesting.
up, in Honkai Star Rail terms, they're essentially the simulated universe.
Okay, so that's basically SimUni. Okay. The end! Damn, dude. Alright, there's a final part.
Again, to be honest, I really didn't know what to expect from this game. As I said, the
Okay, I guess this is just talking about other stuff. I am gonna put this on mute, but I am gonna let it play out because I want to support the video. And maybe I'll play, not the fucking abyss, Limbus Company at some point. Yeah, good stuff.